pull up a chair. This one's Appalachian through and through, and it's the kind of story that survived because people whispered it in the mountains straddling western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. There's a stretch of old road locals still call the Trace, a path that predates pavement, maps, and good ideas. In the late 1800s, it was used by drovers, moonshiners, and anyone who didn't want to be seen arriving anywhere. Horses hated it. Dogs refused to follow it past a certain bend. That bend is where the story starts. Sometime around 1897, a woman known only as Eliza Ward lived alone in a small cabin just uphill from the Trace. Her husband had gone north to work timber and never came back. No body, no letter, no grave. Eliza waited. Years passed. People noticed she kept setting a second plate at supper, not as metaphor, an actual plate, food untouched by morning. Neighbors said Eliza claimed her husband came home at night but could not cross the threshold. He stood by the road, calling softly, asking her to bring a lantern. She said he looked thin as fog and wrong in the joints, but she loved him and that was enough. That line alone should have been a warning label. One fall evening, a traveler saw a woman walking the Trace with a lantern, arguing with someone he could not see. He said she kept stopping, lifting the light, then shaking her head like she was confused. Later that night, the lantern was found smashed at the bend. Eliza was never seen again. Here's where Appalachia does its thing. People began reporting a second light on the Trace, never steady, always low to the ground, bobbing like someone who didn't quite remember how walking works. If you called out, the light would stop. If you approached, it retreated just enough to keep you interested. Folks who followed it said the air went cold and quiet, like the woods were holding their breath. One man in the 1930s swore he heard a woman behind him whisper, "He's almost home." He ran, tripped, and broke his leg. When neighbors came to help, they found footprints beside his bare feet pointed the wrong direction. The light is still seen on certain autumn nights, especially when fog settles thick in the hollows. Locals don't call it a ghost light, they call it Eliza's Wait. No one follows it anymore. Not because they don't believe, but because belief isn't the dangerous part. In Appalachia, the mountains don't always keep the dead. Sometimes they keep the waiting. Stories like this don't live in books. They live in pauses, lowered voices, and the way locals avoid certain bends in the road, even in broad daylight. The mountains remember, they just don't explain themselves.